Welcome back. Hope everybody is ready to go for our first plenary session. I mentioned earlier about the CCAM partnership that is about to be launched, and we're going to really discuss more about that in this session. There is no doubt that mobility is crossing a new digital frontier. It will mean users, vehicles and infrastructure can communicate with each other and enable automated transport. Now, the CCAM partnership will implement a shared long-term vision for European leadership in safe and sustainable road transport through automation. So the partnership hopes to align all stakeholders to accelerate innovation in mobility in Europe and globally by developing a shared R&I agenda. And that will bring us closer to Vision Zero that the Commissioner was talking about a little earlier. It will enable a more user-centred, all-inclusive mobility and reduce congestion and contribute to protecting the environment. Now, before I introduce our panellists, I want to ask you a very quick question via Slido, just to get a sense of how much the word of this partnership has got out. Does your organisation intend to join the CCAM partnership? Yes, I don't know, or no. So at the moment, we have 54% of a very small number voting, I have to say. We had a lot of people online before. I hope you're still with us. Does your organisation intend to join the CCAM partnership? 63% so far saying yes. There's 30%, around 29% don't know. So at the moment we have, the numbers are going up. People are starting to vote. But at the moment, more people are saying yes than no or I don't know. So that's good. At the end of this session, you will have more information and you may be going to change your mind on your views of whether you're going to be joining or not. So in this session, we want to get an idea of the expectations of what the CCAM partnership is from different perspectives. And we've got panellists from industry, road authorities, cities, researchers. So a really good mix of people. But to set the scene and to really give us more of an insight into the partnership, we're delighted to have with us Rosalinde van der Vlies, who is the Director of Clean Planet, DG Research and Innovation at the Commission. Rosalinde.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. It's a real pleasure for me to be here with you this morning in the first plenary session of this very exciting conference. I started my job as the Clean Planet Director only a few months ago, but I already learned in these few months that the automated mobility is really a fascinating topic. And I'm very excited because in a few days' time, I will have the pleasure to make a test ride with an automated vehicle from the L3 pilot project in Brussels. So I'm already very much looking forward to that. It will be really exciting to see how this technology will work in practice. So basically in this opening, I will give you a bit of background on the partnership, and then I'm very much looking forward to the exchange on the expectations of the partnership. I hope maybe that at the end of the session we can run the Slido again and see if some of the participants have changed their minds, that really joining this partnership is the thing to do. We already started with Horizon 2020, where we were funding the development of automated driving technology projects. And through Horizon 2020, we invested 350 million euros in this area. Of course, now with Horizon Europe and with this partnership, we really make a step change in our activities here. And it also demonstrates the importance that we believe also from the Commission side and the potential of this partnership. We believe that this partnership will make a major contribution to the smart and sustainable mobility strategy of the Commission, and we believe that wide deployment of automated mobility systems by 2030 is achievable. But to get there, of course, we need to work hand in hand to address the major challenges in terms of research and innovation. And the new partnership, the new CCAM partnership, will of course be instrumental to better coordinate and streamline all research and testing activities of both public and private sector. And it will be a crucial tool to really accelerate the deployment of the innovative and user-oriented CCAM solutions, and by implementing several new demonstration pilots over Europe. And we believe that this will really bring us closer to Vision Zero, which was mentioned also by the commissioners previously. And this is really where we need to get to have a more user-centered, all-inclusive mobility, but at the same time also reducing congestion and contributing to the protection of the environment. So the idea to set up the partnership was not new. Already in 2018, in the communication on automated mobility, the creation of a public-private partnership was mentioned as an action, and also in previous conferences of EUCAD, the need for a stronger cooperation between public and private partners was discussed. And I'm really very, very pleased to see the progress that we have made since then. So after the last EUCAD conference in April 2019, a lot have happened with the launch of the CCAM platform in the summer, and then end of last year, we basically managed to set up also the common research and agenda together with all the interested partners. And I'm really impressed with the high quality of the research agenda that has been developed in such a short period of time. And the whole process of setting up the partnership, I think, was very efficiently and professionally organized. So I really would like to take this opportunity to thank the representatives from the European Road Transport Research Advisory Council and also from the European Council for the Automotive R&D and the whole drafting team for the tremendous work that they have done in the preparations of setting up these partnerships. And today we already have more than 140 stakeholders that have decided to join this partnership. In order to strengthen, however, the impact of the partnership, we really believe that the number and variety of stakeholders that are participating in the partnership with us should still increase and make the CCAM really work as a multidisciplinary and multi-stakeholder challenge where various partners can contribute in a complementary way. CCAM must be accompanied by timely innovation and rollout also in other segments, such as the digital and physical infrastructure connectivity, logistics or business models, so that the benefits of CCAM can be really fully exploited. So we really would like to see also companies from the telecom and the ITS sectors to work to better support of telecommunication infrastructure for CCAM. And we would also very much welcome a stronger involvement of public transport operators to ensure a better integration of automated vehicles in the public transport system of cities and regions, which are in charge of testing and implementing the new systems on the ground. Let me therefore invite all of you who are not yet involved to get involved in setting the research priorities for the coming years and making CCAM a reality and join the new partnership as a member. Today, I'm extremely happy to see that the text of the Memorandum of Understanding has been finalized, and there will be a signing ceremony of this Memorandum of Understanding together with all co-program partnerships at the R&I Days, which will take place on the 23rd of June of this year. And then this will basically be the kickoff moment of all the activities to start. A concrete other milestone for the partnership will, of course, be the adoption of the Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda, which will be the multi-annual roadmap guiding the partnership. And this will happen after the partnership will be formally established in June. This agenda will pave the way for long-term research and pre-deployment programs, making sure that investments at local, regional and national level, both of public and private nature, are complementing each other more effectively. This also requires a very close involvement of the member states. A strong participation of member states in coordinating programs and investments is fundamental, and the partnership can really increase its impact when it ensures complementarity with national policies and programs, and when it allows the active involvement of member states in all the activities. Therefore, the forthcoming states representative group that will be established will play a fundamental role also in the functioning of the partnership. At the same time, as Commissioner Gabriel already mentioned as well, the partnership should also seek active coordination and synergies and alignment with other European partnerships, with other funding programs, and also look for opportunities with the missions under Horizon Europe, in particular, of course, the cities mission. For example, the CCAM partnership can support the objectives of the climate neutral and smart cities mission by implementing several large demonstrators of shared automotive mobility and services in cities. And we can also see, for instance, very clear linkages between the CCAM partnership and the 2.0 partnership dealing with the road transport. The Commission will be very supportive in order to make sure that the synergies will be found between these different partnerships and also the mission to make sure that we really increase the impact and accelerate the deployment of CCAM. Another concrete milestone will be the first calls of Horizon Europe, and the first calls for the new partnership will be launched in the coming weeks. And the first two calls will be for 2021 and 2022. We will already start investing 162 million euros dedicated to research and innovation for CCAM. So this is something that we are very much looking forward to really kickstart the activities and launch these calls and get started. So ladies and gentlemen, let me congratulate you again for all those that were involved in the preparation of the partnership and the preparation of the very ambitious research and innovation agenda. And the launch of the partnership will be a key milestone to really align our strategies for research and innovation and roll out connected and automated mobility by 2030. So I'm very much looking forward to a very lively discussion on the expectations of the partnership and also the benefits, of course, of joining the partnership. And I'm very much looking forward to working together with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Rosalinde. Very jealous that you're going to be, well, you're not driving an automated car, but going in an automated car. And the test driving, I think, is happening quite near to where the Commission is, which is, for anyone who doesn't know Brussels, it's a really busy area, so a real challenge, so it'll be great. Well, you're going to stay with us now, I think, for our panel. Let me introduce the rest of our panellists. Helene Niklasson, who is from EUCAR. She's the chair of EUCAR, which is the European Council for Automotive R&D, and also Vice President of Innovation, Ecosystems and Partnerships for the Volvo Group. So, Helene, welcome to you.
Hi.
Good to see you. Sigrid de Vries is the Secretary General of CLEPO, which is the EU Automotive Suppliers Association. Hi, Sigrid.
Hello.
We haven't got people's names on the screen, so anyway, we've got. I can see Klepper behind you, Sigrid, so that's great. Sabine Kühschelm from CEDR, Conference of European Directors of Roads. That's road operators, and Sabine is also representative for connected and automated driving. Anjes Tjarks joins us from Hamburg, and she is the first Senator for Transport and Mobility. And I think there are some interesting pilots happening in Hamburg, so we'll no doubt hear some more about that. That's fantastic. And then Rosalinde will stay with us. So there we are. Let's start, because I want to ask you all a question. I want to ask you all, what are you doing in the CCAM area? What are your visions and expectations of the new European partnership? Also, what are the benefits to society? So, Helene, maybe you would like to start off.
Thank you very much, Kathy. I would be happy to. And first of all, great to be here. And as mentioned, I'm representing EUCAR. And what do we do? Well, it is where the European OEMs, or the vehicle manufacturers, if you may, both for passenger cars, but also for what we call commercial vehicles. That includes trucks, buses, construction equipment, etc. We come together and align around pre-competitive research and innovation. And we do that both to regards on joint needs and also to initiate actions. And we share the same vision, and that is to strive for sustainable, safe, clean and efficient road transport solutions that provides freedom of mobility to all and with benefits and value to users and society. And here CCAM comes in as a very important part to bring us there. But if we start from the needs, based on the needs, the EUCAR members drive the development of new technologies, new business models, services, etc., to bring connected and automated mobility to the society. And at the same time, we strengthen the industry competitiveness. And when it comes to actions, we already heard some examples here. We initiate large European multi-stakeholder projects that are valuable and has relevant outcome both for the industry but also for the society. And we make sure to follow them through so that we hopefully can see them implemented and adopted in the real world. And we have done this for many years, and we have some good and important, interesting projects. We mentioned L3 here before, ongoing. But to take us to the next level in implementation of higher level automation, we need to do more. And we already heard that already since 2018, EUCAR with other stakeholders have been working together, including Sigrid in the plenary here from the Supplier Association CLEPA, and Sabine from the road directors in CEDR, and together with the European Commission to set up this new important partnership. And last week, the CCAM first General Assembly were given, and we are so proud that we have reached this stage in the process now. And you asked about expectations. Well, we have high expectations on CCAM to foster a strong collaborative mindset, to strengthen the European competitiveness, and that we together develop and bring automated solutions that are valuable, that are accepted, and that are integrated into the society. And on top of that, we expect that we will have fun doing this.
That having fun, excellent. And just to remind you, by the way, everybody, that you can, I mean, we're not into the discussion as such yet, but we're getting there. We do want to hear your questions. So if you've got any questions for this panel about CCAM or any thoughts, then please do put them into Slido. Let's now hear from Sabine from CEDR. Let's get an idea of the road operator's point of view.
Yes, good morning, and a very warm hello from Vienna, although it is not really warm, unfortunately, but more rainy and grey today. But anyway, the organization CEDR is the conference of the European road directors, but let me come back to the CEDR vision a little bit later on, because I want to start my statement today with the theme climate change. Climate change creates enormous pressure on politics to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Therefore, every country, every policymaker, and of course, every national road authority is looking for solutions in order to address these challenges. Green and energy efficient transport becomes ever more important. But also new modes of transport, such as automation, gain more and more attention these days. Besides environmental benefits, automation has to deliver to the overall aim, road safety, of course, and also the better use of infrastructure. As a result of these goals, we have developed the before mentioned CEDR perspective, focusing on green, smart, and safe road transport. This perspective is also framing the full life cycle of connected and automated driving, namely pre-development, development to the market, and of course deployment. We do also encourage NRAs to see CEDR as a kind of a clasp between research and innovation and the deployment to the market. This is also why we strongly believe in the importance of joining the CCAM partnership for CEDR, but also for each NRA. For us, doing nothing is absolutely not an option. Besides joining the CCAM partnership, CEDR is of course working on different fields such as R&D programs on automation and smart infrastructure. And I'm very happy to announce that now, in 2023, when Austria takes over the CEDR presidency, green mobility and how the Green Deal can benefit from automation will be the main theme for our presidency. So finally, I do hope that in a bit less than 2 years, we will find, thanks to the new partnership, many answers to still arising questions around the theme automated driving. And we will be able to present the answers to this question during the Austrian presidency. I do also hope that the partnership develops well and maybe is also able to broaden its scope, maybe also towards becoming a main driver in regard to a common EU legislation. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. So let's now hear from Hamburg, Anjes Tjarks, who is this first Senator for Transport and Mobility. Really interesting to hear. I mean, it's a beautiful city, Hamburg, and really interested to hear what you're doing there and what your expectations are from the CCAM partnership.
Well, thank you and a warm welcome from Hamburg, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear guests. I guess I was invited here because in October 2021 we are hosting the ITS World Congress in Hamburg, and if the pandemic allows us to, we're also having the Congress, and we are very much invited to join us in our beautiful city to watch all, see and feel all the projects concerning digitalization and optimization of transport and traffic. It's about 90 projects we have there, coming from autonomous driving, from automatic trains, from mobility as a service vehicles, from the German mobility data room, etc., etc. So we're kind of, as a city, the laboratory of what is discussed today. When the European Commission and the European partners sets the frame, we are the ones who are executing it on the local level. I'm very happy to hear that we're all agreeing on the fact that autonomous driving can make traffic more secure, enhance Division Zero, can help us fight climate change, can enhance employment, can fight air pollution. And as the European Commission pointed out, they want to have 100 climate neutral cities soon. We want to be one of them. And this means that we have to change traffic to a mobility transition, and digitalization can be one mean of it. And there I want to make also a point. I think by all this, what we're talking about today, we are also making decisions. And if we all agree on fighting climate change, we also have to think that digitalization and also autonomous driving in itself does not fight climate change, but the political decisions that are behind these ideas. And therefore, I very the decisions that need to be made in this respect to really come there to an end. I want to give you a practical example. Digitalization of traffic in a city can mean that I double the amount of cars I can put through my streets. But this is not fighting climate change. What I need to do is that I want to integrate autonomous driving and connected driving, on-demand driving, electric driving in public transport, because it gives me the power that I can bring public transport, for example, to different places of town on a higher service level. And therefore, people do not need to have their own cars. But it is a political decision what we need to do or what we are going to do. And to make a second point is, now I have all these 90 projects here in the city of Hamburg. For example, we installed the European train control system in our underground system, on parts of it. And we have lots of projects like this, for example, an autonomous driver, an autonomous bus, and we want to really reach level 5 to the ITS World Congress. So I don't know if we do it, but that's the goal of it. And so we have the pilots. We have many pilots, but we need to bring what we developed also into the systems. So the European train control system does not help me on a small part of our railroad tracks. It helps me if I can integrate it in the complete system, because then I can enhance quality and I can drive more trains and capacity on the same system. The same is true for the buses and the cars. And therefore, those are the 2 points I wanted to make, the 2 political points. And In the meantime, I think it is very important that Europe sets the framework and sets initiatives like these we are talking about today. And at the same time, we need to have partners and cities that are the laboratories where all these frameworks and guidelines can be executed. And we are very happy to be one of them and welcome you to the ITS Congress if you want to join.
Thank you very much indeed. And yes, I mean, a good point there that autonomous driving doesn't fight climate change, it's political decisions that do. So now we're delighted that Sigrid is going to join us from CLEPA, the Automotive Suppliers Association, to get a sense of what you expect and hope from this partnership.
Yes, thank you. And good morning, everyone. CLEPA and our members have indeed been actively contributing to both the launch of the partnership and also this conference. So it's a pleasure to be in the panel here with you today. The launch of the CCAM partnership marks a very important milestone on the road to safe, sustainable and smart mobility. And this EUCAD conference has become a well-established platform also to show progress. So CLEPA, as many of you know, is the voice of the automotive suppliers in Europe. They are around 3,000 from very large to very, very small. And they supply and design and manufacture all of the components and systems that are needed to achieve the ambitious goals for road transport, which is all about safe, sustainable and smart. And we've heard it already a couple of times today. So our sector is a very diverse one and very much driven by innovation. And the automotive suppliers also have a huge footprint in Europe. They employ about 1.7 million people directly on top of the 1.2 million with vehicle manufacturers. And you can imagine also in the workforce today, everything is about moving towards green and digital. So also on the reskilling and upskilling side, a huge effort is ongoing. The megatrends of decarbonization and digitalization drive change in our industry to a magnitude that we have never seen before. And the structural change also has clearly been accelerated by the COVID-19 crisis. So as suppliers, we are working on recovery and resilience. The pandemic, of course, is not over yet. It's actually further accelerating change. Automotive suppliers also support the EU's ambitious climate objectives. We strive for highly connected and automated transport, and our target is to go for 0 fatalities on the road. So all of that is in our portfolios, and within our work, we focus also very much on the definition of a common agenda for research and innovation. Today's conference is really very, very important because transport and mobility are key to society, and the economic and health challenges of recent months. And we heard that also from the commissioners. They've really emphasized the role of transport for society at large. People really cherish and need mobility, and also public and commercial transport keep our economies going. So yeah, very important to work and to ensure that mobility and transport will remain accessible and affordable for all. And I believe that's a very important and also a very much shared objective. Now, as I said, the CCAM partnership is an important milestone in shaping the mobility of the future. Taking an integrated, systemic approach to the development and deployment of connected, cooperative, automated mobility is really the only way to dramatically improve road safety and also inclusiveness of road transportation. And also to achieve 0 fatalities on the roads, highly connected and automated mobility will be a decisive factor in reaching that. So we need to advance very rapidly towards a new horizon, one where vehicles are equipped with advanced technologies for perceiving their environment and also to communicate with each other, with the road infrastructure and with other road users. And the CCAM partnership has really been conceived to enable the alignment of R&I efforts between all the necessarily involved stakeholders. And we see this alignment really as crucial to avoid fragmentation and to accelerate the implementation of innovative CCAM technologies and services in Europe. And fragmentation is a real risk, and that's why it's so important that we address it. Many actors need to work together: member state governments, member state road authorities and operators, providers of digital and physical infrastructure, cities, and then of course also industry, research institutes and service providers and many more. And I think the 140 partners that were already mentioned that have signed up today for the partnership also signifies this need for coordination and cooperation. And we are really pleased as suppliers that there is such an appetite for many different actors joining this partnership. Now is the time really to come together. We all have common issues to solve, and we're still in the pre-competitive phase, so we can do it. And that brings me to my last point, really. Another important dimension of this CCAM partnership, which is about European leadership. Because by working together, we need to ensure the future within an increasingly competitive global market. Other regions around the world are certainly not standing still, particularly in Asia and North America. Huge strides are being taken. So Europe needs to move rapidly, exploiting our strengths in innovation at all levels and in all sectors of the future mobility and transport system to remain at the forefront. And we, as Klippa Automotive Suppliers, we are convinced that the CCAM partnership will help move Europe in the right direction.
Thank you very much indeed. So Europe needs to move more rapidly, we're hearing there. Actually, I want to ask you a question, Sigrid, just to remind everybody, please, to send questions in via Slido. But let's talk a little bit more in a more practical way now, how to actually make it happen, because I think everybody agrees that we need to make it happen. So in terms of deployment, Sigrid, what is actually missing? What more do we need?
I think it boils down to two things. It's really, first of all, maybe a mindset issue. All of our mindsets need to be changed a little bit. We need to enable really confidence in the technology. So public acceptance of future driverless cars and trucks needs to be fostered. Is society truly ready for automation? That's one of the questions we believe that the CCAM partnership must face head on. And then the second point, further progress is still required, and this is very much about technology, of course, which is in the DNA of the sector that I represent. Further progress is required to improve precision and robustness. So focusing in particular on real-time driving decision making, which must be performed in an entirely safe and unambiguous way. With the CCAM partnership, the target is basically to try and get to what is called in our sector level 4 automation. And that means a situation wherein a vehicle is able to drive itself without human intervention in a wide range of predefined and set situations, the so-called operational design domains. And I give you two brief examples of what that means. Level 4, this can be deployed, for example, in highly automated highway driving, where the driver is able to do something else than driving the car. So the vehicle drives itself, and that can be a truck or a passenger car. And another example would be highly automated parking applications, or valet parking with another nice word, which includes the driving to and from the parking space. So just two examples, there are many more, but you can imagine much more still needs to be done, because the communication with all the other influencing factors and actors is needed. It needs to be robust, it needs to be safe, secure, reliable at all times. So a lot of work to be done, and that's ongoing. We've made good progress, but more is needed.
Maybe, thank you very much indeed. Maybe Helene Niklasson could pick up on this, because we heard there from Sigrid that there's a lot more that needs to be done in terms of precision and robustness. How do you think that the CCAM partnership can actually accelerate the innovation process? I mean, what are the elements that are needed for this precision and robustness that we hear Sigrid talking about?
Thank you. I think that Anjes put it really well before, that, you know, an innovation is only successful when you have seen an idea being implemented in reality. and that is really used in the way that you anticipated. So in innovation, the idea, it is like 1%, and then it's the persistence to follow it through. So in order to accelerate and get more done, like Sigrid was into, CCAM can really support here by fostering a way of working that supports that you go from the idea to implementation in a simple and quick manner. And then to start by understanding the user, what are the needs, what are the challenges that we need to solve, and then collectively identify the ideas that we think can go forward and that will be successful and have a high potential to solve this challenge or problem, if you may, in a good way. But at the same time, as Sigrid was into, you really need to acknowledge that the world around us is developing in a very, very quick pace. I've been in this industry for many years. It has never been more exciting. And the transport industry is transforming in a very quick pace as well, with new technologies entering, new ways of doing business, and there are many new players entering into the transport industry. And it's not only happening in Europe, it's global transformation for the whole industry. So here, CCAM is important to keep the European competitiveness. At the same time, it's very important that we make sure that we work in an international context, so that our systems that we develop will work on a global base. So we need to have harmonized standards and technologies, for example. So to be able to accelerate innovation in this era of transformation, we need to do one thing that you were into before, and that is really to collaborate. And the tradition that the industry had before, and many others, this with the in-house development, to do all the development yourself in a company or a region, it just doesn't work anymore, because so many new technologies, new players, new ways of doing things. We just need to come together. And here CCAM is really, really important, because we understand and acknowledge that developing and implementing CCAM all over Europe, it's a significant challenge, but at the same time, it's a huge opportunity to open up and invite, and already many have registered, but invite stakeholders, both public, private, big and small, to come together and jointly develop competitive solutions. And there to foster and support the way of working where you collaborate, you bring the quick learnings, you test, you improve, you do this in an iterative way of working, and then you bring the solutions all the way so we can see them in reality, Anjes, in Hamburg. And to do this, you need to have this holistic approach, because it's around vehicles, of course, but it's also infrastructure, very important, to get the whole system working. And not to forget the policymakers, very important to have a regulatory framework that supports this. If we do that and we get all this working together, then we will accelerate and quickly bring us closer to this vision for clean, safe, efficient and inclusive road transport.
Let me bring in Sabine Kühschelm from the CEDR road authorities, because this idea of the holistic approach and obviously the public-private element, Sabine, in terms of road infrastructure, how will this public-private planning work? I mean, you know, it's for many people going into whole new realms. Partnering with people and organisations that perhaps we're not used to working together with.
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. I think it has been said before that automation is not an end in itself. And I very much like the idea also for innovation, because innovation is not an end in itself. It's not the end at all. It's just a vehicle. Yeah? It's a driver to reach overarching objectives such as creating a smart and sustainable mobility system. And infrastructure is essential to support
We're having a few
longer than vehicle life cycles and public investments in infrastructure.
We're having a few problems with your connection. I think
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just breaking up. Just try again, and then we'll see how we get on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm at the Ministry for Innovation, so actually it should work. But
They should have got it right.
Sorry for that. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but carry on, and let's see whether we keep the line. Yeah.
Okay. Just stop me, please, if you can't hear me. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I think I've been at the life cycles of infrastructure, which are much longer, of course, than vehicle life cycles. And infrastructure changes or upgrades due to digitalization and automation will support achieving the societal expectations for mobility. But these changes have to be, of course, linked to a very careful investment planning, because capacities are limited, of course, for every national road authority. And getting involved in the R&I activities at this stage will help us in our decision-making process for planning and aligning beyond this phase, also towards the rollout process.
Thank you very much. And the line was fine in the end. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
So what about from a city's point of view then in Hamburg, in terms of public-private partnerships? Is that already working well? What's your experience of this, and how important is it, Anjes?
Well, it's very important, because we totally help each other. To give you, I guess, I give you some practical examples. For example, we are building as a city our own mobility as a service platform, and I think this platform will be very successful, because all the companies who wants to connect with the platform know that the data is shared by someone neutral, because the city is neutral and they don't have to share it with, for example, Uber, and therefore they will join the platform, and they will join the platform in many more cases than if the platform is privately owned. This is just one example. To give you another example, I'm also leading Germany's largest traffic light public authority, which is not very spectacular, but in case you want to do something with traffic lights in autonomous driving, and this is very important, you need to work together, because we as an authority, we do not have the research power, the capital power to invest in great new technologies. And on the other hand, a company like Siemens, for example, needs to have a city and an authority which will build in their new developments, and therefore we'll help each other. And to give you a third example, it is we're trying to kind of revolutionize the public transport. We call it integrated public transport. We want to add to our public transport a large number of smaller buses, and at the moment you can only book them on demand, and they are electrified. But in 2 years we're also trying to experiment with autonomous driving, and also with a hybrid model, so that in the outskirts of our town they drive as public transport at a very low cost, and in the inner part of the town, those are like it's a private service. And therefore we want to enhance quality of our public transport. And for example, we as a city, we can never develop autonomous driving cars, but we can have set the scenery, we can try to work on the standards, we can try to work on legislation together with the federal government and the European Commission. And on the other hand, private companies have the capital, they have the power, they have the agility also to do this, and therefore we are very much benefiting from working together with private companies, and I think this is the way to go. And CCAM also sets a standard there, and this is what we also need to do on the local level.
And do you see within the city that the potential for CCAM to really change the life of a city and the life of the people who live in it?
Yes, of course. It will really change, even though not all projects people will notice that the life will change. To give you an example, if you introduce a European train control system and other European systems concerning our railroad network, it will enhance the quality of the train system, will have lots more capacity, and people will notice that. However, they will not necessarily notice that it comes from digitalization of the network. And therefore, we'll see many perspectives there to really change day-to-day life and to better it. And as I said in the beginning, the technology is there. It needs to be developed. It needs to be placed not into a pilot, but into the whole system. And we need to make the decision that we really want to use this technology to enhance the political goals that all the panelists outline here, to fight climate change, to fight air pollution, to better road safety and so on. And then we are on a good track.
Great. Can we just see whether there are any questions coming in from the audience? I'm not seeing them on my screen at the moment. Maybe we can. Well, there is a website about the partnership. We'll show you that in a minute. Let's just talk about the large-scale demonstration actions, because we've talked about these pilots and everything. But maybe Helene Niklasson from Volvo and EUCAR, just give us sort of sense of how important these large-scale demonstrators are, and then, of course, how do you get beyond that to the next step of really doing what Anjes was saying in Hamburg and really making it properly part of the system?
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to talk. This is really important. And both what Anjes mentioned, that the technology, it's one thing, but it is really to make it in the real world and see the benefits. And Commissioner Gabriel pushed on it before as well. In order to get there, in order to develop something that will be successful and adopted, then you need to include the users and the society during the development. So it's really to come together already during this phase, so you don't just hand over something. And if we include and consequently work together with the ones who will use the system and with the society where we will implement it, then we can be successful. So here it's important, obviously, to secure safety, and we need to really work together towards more complex operational domains, because they will come, and also complex use cases, so that we really can validate the system in reality. We can do this through large-scale pilots and work with end users in field operational trials. And then we will advance the system, and both technical maturity, but also the complete system robustness. And this is really important. And then it will take us to real implementation. And to do working in society, with society in living labs all over Europe, then simultaneously we can raise the awareness and understanding. And that is really key here. You need to understand what's happening, you need to be aware, and then you much easier will adopt and accept the CCAM mobility solutions that will come out. And key here, it is really, key is collaboration, obviously, but it's also transparency, to be open about what's happening, do it early on, share knowledge, share information, all the information that's been gathering during the large-scale demonstrators, to facilitate that we can assess the impact, but also that people will understand what's going on here, and then we will be able to put the CCAM-enabled mobility into the society.
So in terms of the partnership, I mean, somebody's actually asking here, is there a website about the partnership? And I'll ask Rosalinde about that in a moment, as to where the information can be found. I think we've got an address for that. But I mean, in terms of joining the partnership, Sabine, from the road operators' point of view, why should road operators get involved, do you think? And what will it bring? And also member states, in fact.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for this question. I hope the connection is better now.
It's fine.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think that for CCAM to be successful over Europe, a coordinated rollout is essential. And this can only be done if we manage to harmonize our activities across the member states, avoiding isolated solution without any critical mass. And in my opinion, and this is maybe also my recommendation, it is always better to lead than to follow. Learning and creating knowledge and sharing experiences in the partnership with other member states will accelerate innovation and deployment and help member states also, I think, to reach their Green Deal objectives. But of course, as it has been said before, it is not an end in itself. It has to be embedded in a holistic transport system.
Of course. And so, Rosalinde, let me bring you back in. Give us a sort of sense of then why anybody should be joining the partnership. I mean, somebody mentioned that, I think you mentioned that perhaps public transport, not enough interest. How do we, and why should people get involved?
Yeah, so thank you. And I mean, I think this has been a really inspirational exchange. I think building on what Commissioner Valian said, to be smart, we need to share more. Based on the exchange we just had here in this panel, I would say we should complement this to say, to be smart, we need to collaborate. And I think all the panelists have given really good reasons why we need to join forces and why we need to join this partnership. It is not only to define together a common research and innovation agenda, but it's also together to then make sure that we also coordinate other activities, be it linked to the regulatory framework development or common activities that will enhance also the public acceptance. Common activities to make sure that we can support the market uptake. And also some of the panelists mentioned the importance, of course, of the European Union to be competitive and to be a world leader. So really to be smart, we really need to collaborate. And I think another thing that is linked also to the demonstrators. I mean, we are, as Sabine I think mentioned, we are in the pre-commercial phase. So with these demonstrators that we will be developing together, it will really then help also to target further public acceptance, as I mentioned before. But also, I think the political element is a very important one, and I'm really very much agreeing with the point that Anjes made. That I think it is so clear that in Europe we have now this European Green Deal. We have really a common political vision, and I think together, working together and collaborating together in this partnership, we can then also bring in the member states to make sure that then eventually when we come to the market uptake, the right decisions are made, that the work of this partnership, if the right political decisions are surrounding it, will of course then also make a huge contribution to the European Green Deal. And then maybe my last point is, and I think that was also a very good point, that by being smart and by collaborating together, we will also have fun. And I think that was also a very good point. So I think here, I'm convinced. Oh no, we were already a partner. But
you don't have to convince yourselves. But somebody's saying here that public authorities can now join the partnership. But talking about non-technological aspects will be taken into account. The change of citizens' behaviour is mandatory to make CCAM a success. So that, Rosalinde, will also be part of the work of the partnership. It's not just technology.
No, absolutely. And I think that's one of the strengths of the partnerships. So in the past, we had already partnerships under Horizon Europe, for instance. And sometimes these partnerships were a bit accused of being a closed club. And I think this is really the new approach that we are having with all partnerships under Horizon Europe. This is the openness. So open to all interested partners, I think is a big strength. And secondly, indeed, of course, the core that we are working on is on a research and innovation agenda, but there are many other surrounding activities also to coordinate and support regulatory frameworks, public acceptance, etc. So I think really, as somebody mentioned before as well, research and innovation, it's not an end in itself, but it's simply a vehicle, it's a tool to, in the end, come to bringing concrete solutions to society, of which our citizens can then benefit from.
Thank you. Maybe I could go back to Sigrid, and when you were talking about the precision and robustness that is needed. I mean, if we're talking about public-private partnerships and partnerships in general, how can this really help to advance technology and make a difference? I mean, what specifically is needed if we're talking about precision and robustness? I mean, is it sensors? Is it where does the research need to be?
Yeah. Thank you for the question. I'll get back to that in a second, but I would like to reinforce what has been said about the importance of partnerships, and I think this needs to be created and supported within the partnership on CCAM now, but also important to have indeed the synergies and the collaboration, working together with other partnerships, very important. And as industry, as suppliers, we've made very good experience already with some of the other partnerships that were there before, such as the European Green Vehicles Initiative, which has really spurred, again, collaboration and forward-looking attitude and helping Europe to stay competitive and make progress. And that's also what we expect now here from the CCAM partnership. And the strategic research and innovation agenda has already, I think, facilitated that sharing and collaborating, because it brings people together to indeed identify what are the issues that we need to tackle, and then what are the solutions, whether they are technology solutions or other types of solutions, infrastructure, or just bringing the user-centric experience to the table. How can we combine them, and how can we make sure that things then work, and then they're tested and tried out in these deployment projects, which of course is very helpful. And we see that the 500 million euro of European funding, which will come available through the CCAM project, is important, but it will by far not be enough. I mean, it's seed money. It will be complemented by, of course, private partners funding. But then I think once the business cases start to become more and more clear, we will see more money, more funding coming available. Now, as to the technologies, what we focus on as a supplier community, very much together, of course, also with the vehicle manufacturers. It's a very close collaboration there. Very much focused also together, I think, on the user, the user of these mobility services and mobility applications in the end in mind. We focus on so-called sense, think, and act technologies and solutions. So sense is about scanning the driving environment. Think is about interpreting the data that is then collected and taking decisions on that basis. And act is about maneuvering the vehicle, then taking all of that into account in a safe, secure, and comfortable and reliable way. So these are all very important aspects. They all are areas in themselves for innovation. And again, guaranteeing safety and reliability is very important. And that's what we're focusing on. So I hope that gives you a bit of an insight in what it actually means on the ground on these in these engineering departments that are working on it today.
Thank you. Another question. CCAM is described as an R&I partnership. What profile sectors of partners are you expecting to enter the partnership besides automotive, ICT, research institutions, road operators? What other sectors of society are you expecting? Should I go back to Rosalinde on that one? Are you there, Rosalinde?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you see the question?
So. Yeah, I see the question indeed. So as I said before, I think, we need to have a broad participation. So not only the car manufacturers, suppliers, but also road authorities, and very much also would be welcoming cities. Commissioner Gabriel also mentioned the climate neutral cities mission, and it would be really great if cities would also then be joining the partnership. So the advanced CCAM solutions, they require the development of complex in-vehicle systems with advanced sensors, extensive computer power, software for decision making, etc. So we really think that we need to have a wide range of stakeholders involved in this partnership. And I think it's also important to what also I think Sigrid mentioned before, that by joining these forces, we of course also then leverage the co-investment that we are making as European Union, because the partners, of course, they contribute with their in-kind activities to the partnership. And I think that is really a clear added value of joining this partnership.
Thank you very much indeed, and thank you to all of you for starting us off so well, and thanks for your questions. Just to briefly conclude then, I mean, what Kate was very clear there, that there are high expectations of this partnership. So Rosalinde, you've got a lot on your shoulders and all the partners already there. High expectations, and it's really important to the public-private partnership in this pre-competitive phase, but it's a matter of Europe acting quickly, and that is really, really important. And the pilots, hugely important, these large-scale demonstrators, but they need to be able to be brought into the main system as quickly as possible. And we need harmonised standards, of course. We also need societal acceptance, and that's going to be one of our sessions this afternoon where we're talking about this, if we are going to actually be able to go ahead and really meet the expectations from this partnership. But obviously already a lot of interest, and there is the address, sorry, for anybody who wants to get more information. It's info@airtrack.org. So that is the address if you need more information. So thank you very much indeed for everybody for that first session. We are going to break for lunch now if you're in Europe, or we're breaking for an hour wherever you are anyway. And so that will give you a chance, if you'd like to visit the virtual exhibition or networking. As we said before, you can set up one-to-one meetings with other participants and exhibitors. So we'll be back at 1300 CET. And then we're going to be discussing the shift from Horizon 2020. So we've all got to get used to saying Horizon Europe now, the next 10-year funding programme, and find out what that is actually going to bring to connected and automated mobility. And we're also then, as I say, having a session on how to build public trust. That will be, I think, a really interesting session. So we will see you in an hour's time. Thank you very much.